guys, so this is the breakdown of my last show. It went really, really well. Like, I think this is the first time that I've come into a fall show where I'm like, man, I have a shot at this thing. I really do. And I was more offensive minded than, more defensive minded. And yeah, it's hard to explain because there's really no offense in bodybuilding. Like, you do what you do like beforehand. But what this does do is, like, come the day of, you're just much more calm, cool, and collective. The three C's, right? Which just makes usually the peaking experience all that more fluid. It makes the experience a whole lot more enjoyable, and you have less fuck ups on stage when it comes to the posing because you feel good about what you have. So I ended up getting second place here, lost to a bodybuilder by the name of Omar Ali, and just thickness all over, man. Thickness all over. Those are the guys that are always going to give like this like ectomorphic bone structure type of hunk right here problems for the rest of my career. And then my buddy Connor, been chatting it up for years, he got third. I was so impressed with his conditioning. Like, check out his Instagram, man. Like, it is, I'll link it somewhere in here or up here or the description, but that boy, those pictures don't do him justice. And yeah, I'm 1-0, Connor, against you, bro. But it's not always going to be that way. We're going to be doing a lot of back and forth over the next few years. I know that much. But man, fantastic time. Very satisfied with my placing. I had to go on a spiel on Instagram as to like people were siding with me, but that's because you guys like me and I appreciate that. But again, when you do a sport like this, it's a subjective sport, man. You sign up for that. And like the last show, honestly, I think was closer than this show between first and second, and I ended up getting the nod. And I was like, whoa, like, really, me? And then this one here, it was close too, and things got swapped. And honestly, the top three were very swappable, to be quite honest. So yeah, let's get into how it happened. Let's do it, guys. All right. First impression pose, the front relax, really strong pose on me. This is one where, yeah, man, like I try to milk it, man, because again, judges are people. This is the first thing they see. I want them to remember me. Everyone had something special, man. And yeah, in the WNBF, in bodybuilding in general, but especially in the WNBF, things are really broken down into two sections, the symmetry round and then the muscularity round. So this right here, mostly judging the silhouette, that is going to be the symmetry round. It's probably one of my better features, but as you will see, especially as we get deeper into this, I do have some deficiencies. All right, so they're going to spin us around. Often after this first spin, yes, the judges start to kind of think about how they want to move everyone around. Conveniently, I start in the middle, right? So that's always nice. It's like starting with an A, right? And like, yeah, it's like don't lose any ground, basically. So okay, quarter turn to the right. So again, front relax, the side symmetry to the right, side the back relax shot, relax, and then the side symmetry. I'm turning to my right, but I guess this is the right side if you are a judge, right? So here we go. All right. So as you can see, this pose right here, man, like it's pretty decent on me. It's like when it comes to X frame, it's something that, man, I'd say between Connor and then gentlemen in the red trunks, probably some of the best symmetry on this stage. Although the young kid all the way to the right, number 43, that kid's going to be a stud. More on those two gentlemen on the right side as we go on. So, okay. They got their first look at us, and I don't recall if they started to move us right away. Maybe they wanted to have us spin one more time. My sartorius was sore for like 3 days from having it flexed like this. It's a big, important muscle on me. So I was doing my best to just claw those feet down. All right, so yeah, they really liked Omar, and just so thick, so muscular. Those are the guys that for the rest of my career will give me issues, especially when when we turn to the side, excuse me, you will be able to see that he's just much more deeper across the rib cage. All right, and sometimes there's some slight confusion. Man, you're in the middle of this all. You forget like what your number is sometimes. All right. Okay, they're trying to space us out, but you know, this is a competition. So it's like we get into it. It's like if you see a dude standing a little bit more like in front of you, even like sometimes it messes you up. Like you're not getting all the right light. Yeah, you are like you're right up on his ass, and it gets really crowded. Okay, so yeah, as you can see, Omar in the middle, technically, I'd say, because he's right in front of the head judge, Rodney. Rodney was a head judge, which always makes me feel comfortable when it's a WNBF legend who's kind of leading the group of judges and making sure that they articulate what it is that they want to see. All right. Okay, so I'd say at this point, I am probably, because again, in the symmetry round, it's more of a little crowded. What you're going to see in the symmetry round is like they're really looking for that X frame, that classic X frame. And that's something that, I have a decent amount of. So for me, this round especially, it's like I need to widen that gap. I need to widen that gap because on the muscularity round, even if there is weight classes, I'm going to lose ground because most of the lightweights I compete with, they're like, anywhere from 2 to 4 inches shorter than I. All right. So far, I'm happy with how I'm nailing my poses up until this point. You can see just how much thicker Omar is up here. Connor, because he is like legit probably 5'10" and some change, but unlike me, like most of my height is my head. I'm like a pseudo 5'10". He's very wide up top, which really enhances his symmetry. So honestly, I'd say from the side in some ways, because Omar is so thick, he has a better X frame from the side. Okay, some judge on this side probably wanted to take a better look at me. Man, the guy in the red is so massive, so massive. Really good symmetry too. So at this point, I'd say, I would say that this kind of looks to be the top 4. Everyone from Connor in the purple all the way to the gentleman in the red trunks. Oh, there goes my front relax. That is my blankie. Like when I hit that, I feel very, very confident in that it's doing what it's supposed to do. And I can hold it all day long, man. I've trained it to be that way, to have it flicker minimally. Yeah, man. You can really see on the side poses that I'm just like naturally a very thin-built kid. They're probably going to spin us one more time, and I believe from here, move into the muscularity round. Tell you what, man, I'm really happy with my back development. It wasn't like this last time I prepped. Definitely doing some things to cheat it into that position. A little turtle backy, but it works. It works. It makes me look a little bit blockier, which I'll take because I'm not the blockiest guy. Blocky can be negative in a way because it means you're not very X-framed. You're kind of put together like SpongeBob, but I'll take it for the sake of just looking a bit more massive. So the gentlemen on the sides, 20 years old, they won their amateur pro card in the morning show, and what they do is they let you compete in the evening show. So they threw these young men to the wolves. Tell you what, man, they had a busy day, and they put it down. And an experience like this, very similar to my first experience in my pro debut, it just really let me know like what direction I have to head in, like when it comes to my off-season training, and like what I have to do better during the prep. All right. If it were only a front relax show, I'd be doing pretty well. But as you're going to see, it's like right now, it's like you can argue that I might be in the slight lead when it comes to like boom, that X frame. But as we go through the muscularity round poses, you're going to see that, hey, like naturally, I'm a small dude. And regardless of how much muscle I pack on, like I'm kind of limited by my frame, much in the same way that someone who maybe is much more robust, sometimes that leads to a less like aesthetic, flowy X-frame type of physique. Okay, front double biceps, arms exposed. I'm not doing too bad at this point. I love the way Connor, purple on the right, hits this pose. I need to do something like that sometimes because that's just a pose that I'm trying to survive realistically. All right, front lat is what's coming up next. It's another strong pose on me. It's kind of, front lat is kind of like, hey, a front relax, but you get to kind of pivot off yourself and like create an even wider physique. Good quad separation, right? And I think from here is where I really start losing ground. Omar really starts to stride forward, and even Connor, who by default of just being a wider, taller, bigger framed individual, like he's gaining some ground on me. We're both kind of ectomorphic when it comes to our bone structure, but he's just so much thicker. He was so conditioned. I'd honestly, I'd say he was probably a tad leaner than I am, for sure. All right, here comes the side poses. This is where the fact that I'm not very barrel chested here really starts to poke through. So yeah, I'll tell you what, like there's a few things that like in Omar's situation, I would tinker with that pose, but it doesn't matter. He's just so thick. Same thing with guy to the right, so much more thicker than I am. And at the end, it's a bodybuilding show. It revolves around muscularity. Right, side tricep. This is one where I can kind of fake it, that it's like, hey, I got some decent sized arms. A lot of it is me squeezing my lat into the long head of my tricep. Smoke and mirrors, folks. All right, they're gonna turn us around. My back poses are quite good, but still a little too flickery to the point where I think a good portion of my posing practice going into Worlds is just gonna be like setting them up consistently. The back relax, I do a good job with that. Low lat attachments, I'm really able to get a lot of those, just get that turtle shell to show. But sometimes, I'm inconsistent when it comes to what I'm supposed to do with my arms. On this shot, the back double bicep, it's a little crowded, but I'm just gonna do it here. Oh, the judges help you out. If they see you are in trouble, don't be doing this pushing thing. Like they will save your butt. 9 times out of 10, they will spread everyone out. And of course, because we're competing, we all tend to gather together. We're going to find the center stage one way or another. All right. Do they call back double bicep again? Because I didn't really get to set into that one. But one thing that, yeah, I really slack on is sometimes, I was telling Connor to move to the left because I knew they were going to tell him. I slack on is getting on my hamstrings when I'm hitting this pose. And a lot of it is because to me, it's still like I'm doing a lot of things at once. Hey, I nailed it. But man, yeah. So honestly, I'd say with this one, I might have edged Omar, might have edged Connor, just a smidge. Back lat spread, we'll see how I hit it. It's really gonna be those side poses, those side muscularity poses that are going to just pull me downwards. All right. Not bad. We got it. I'm a little tilted. We got to do something about that. Jeff's going to get on me about that when he sees it. A little tilted, I can tell, even though the camera's kind of off to the side. All right. Man, I did a number on them lats. I am proud. And there's much more where that came from. I'll tell you that much. All right. Here comes my ass whooping. Here's where you get to see that I have like a total Steve Urkel torso. But unlike Steve Urkel, it's not a tiny little short torso. It's a long torso, so I look like a beanpole. I'm trying to fake it as much as I can. But, man, now you can just... Omar's so much thicker, and so is Connor. Connor he really gets the most out of this pose. So Connor's to my left of the screen. He gets so much out of these side poses because, again, he is a taller guy, which means just bigger bone structure by default, but he yeah, he does a terrific job of faking it, you know? We're all faking. I'm faking it on this pose right here. Long head to the lat. All right, got the abs in check. I'm not mad. I do suspect, this is the first time I've seen it, that I've lost some composure. Oh, I will have by the time we get to the next round, because I really drained myself in that symmetry round just because I know that this is the first impression. This is where usually I get to separate myself a bit from the rest of the group. All right. Abs and thigh. This is another pose where you can, my whole torso is exposed, and you can definitely see that, hey, I have a baby man rib cage. The legs kind of save me, but then you can't help but look up. Okay. Maybe I shouldn't have gotten fancy with like the twisting. My obliques aren't very entertaining. What it does is it kind of takes away from the fact that, hey, there is still some X frame despite the fact that I'm not very big up top. All right, hands on hip, most muscular. It's a shoulder show and quad show for me, but the arms, man, the arms. Look at Omar's arms compared to mine. You really can't see it that well, but yeah. And his rib cage. Yeah, I'm faking it by trying to push my rib cage forward in front of my hips, but you could only do so much. All right. Word on the streets that I messed up this pose. Yeah, elbows outside of the shoulders. For someone like me, that just doesn't work. If you're a longer guy like Connor, it absolutely works. Tell you what, those like crab most musculars, it's a crab most muscular legally what we did. As long as your hands are not on your hips, that's a crab most muscular. And yeah, those crabs when you lean over, maybe you can finish with them, but what they usually end up doing is just blocking a lot of your physique. They look good if you're taking like an up close selfie type shot. But yeah, otherwise it's better saved for the gram. And I think a hands clasped is probably the way to go. Okay, they wanted to turn us around. Got feedback from one of my friends that, yeah, I was really letting go of my hamstrings on this. So let's see, that first back double bicep was good. All right. Jeez. That one was hit better, but the hamstrings are just lazy. Look at Connor's to the left. Look at Omar's to the right. I'm a little tighter than Omar, so mine should be showing more, and mine should be right like on the heel of Connor's. Okay, back lat spread. Yeah, I let up. This was not as good as my other ones. It's just that fatigue, man. And I need to do something about that because at Worlds, this was 17 minutes or so on stage. Come time to jump into that world stage, they're probably going to work us just a little bit harder. So there's some final statements they wanted to see on those back poses. All right, oh, my blankie, my front relax. I love that shot, and I'm thankful that I do have a good front relax. But look at Omar's pecs. They're like legit, like 2 inches away from like his, the bottom of his sternum. Such a thick individual. Okay. Oh, no, rookie mistake. I thought they said ab and thigh. Yeah, here's where I'm kind of, with a physique like mine, I can't be off by just mere centimeters when it comes to positioning, especially poses where my arms are out there and exposed. Hey, kudos to the 20-year-olds on the sides. This is their second go around. And this was the pose down. This is where we just have a blast. Doesn't count. We know this, but we act like we don't know. All right, folks, so that was my review. Of course, look, I wish I could say something about every athlete that was up there. I got to talk to just about everyone there. Like the brotherhood in natural bodybuilding, especially in the pro ranks, is something else, man. Someone needs something, we're there for you, bro. It's like that. But yeah, this is my log, right? So it's from my perspective, my experience, my breakdown of what I believe is going on the stage, and how the show was judged and what things I need to work on so that I can do better next time. So yeah, very content because I am a totally different bodybuilder relative to last time I competed. And yeah, so I'm pretty proud of this package, but I know I can be prouder, and that's exactly what we're going to work on these next few weeks. A lot of it's going to come via just really nailing down some things on the posing, I'm going to get sharper, fuller, because at this point we are jacking calories back up, getting off the gas. That usually has a very positive net effect on your physique. And yeah, we got one more of these, and it's my chance to get the ultimate approval from the most important, most harshest judge I know, and that is myself. So see you guys next week.